Sweetheart, just use your brother's card. He's got around $90,000 saved. My mom said that as she handed my card to my sister without even asking me. She headed straight to the mall and loaded up on electronics, designer heels, and luxury perfumes. The cashier totaled everything, $88,000. She slid the card in, glanced at the screen, and said, "Apologies, but this card is." You know that moment? That tiny, awful crack when something inside you just shifts. Like a key turning from the inside, locking you out of a life you thought was yours, and unlocking a whole new, terrifying one. Yeah, I had one of those. And it started with my own mother, handing my sister my entire life savings. My name's Harold, I'm 33. I'm an associate at a law firm, which basically means I'm the guy who reads the fine print, brings extra napkins, and fixes everyone's Wi-Fi. I'm the calm one, the organized one. At home. That just means I'm the family bank. It was a Sunday afternoon, rain ticking against the kitchen window at my parents' place. The air smelled of lemon cleaner and fried onions. My mom was slicing peaches, that tiny serrated knife she's had forever. My sister, Jenna, was glued to her phone, half listening, half smirking. Some reality show was on in the living room, people with blindingly white teeth arguing about a vacation rental. I was by the counter, tie loosened, trying to review a settlement on my phone because a client was, panicking on a weekend. Mom didn't even look at me when she said it. She just reached into the little ceramic bowl where we toss keys and cards, picked up a black card, the one with the tap, she calls it, and turned to Jenna like it was nothing. "Sweetheart," she cooed, a casual smile on her face, "use your brother's card. He's got about $90,000 saved." And she just handed it to Jenna. My card. Without my permission. It was as thoughtless as saying, "Grab a sweater." "Mom," I said, and that's all I managed. Jenna just shrugged, took the card with 2 fingers like she was picking a daisy. "We're just looking," she said. Back to school stuff. Back to school. Jenna hadn't been in school for 6 years. "Put it back," I said, trying to keep my voice flat, but my mouth felt bone dry. My heart did that tight, light jump it does when a judge asks a question you weren't expecting. Mom waved her hand, annoyed. "Stop being dramatic, Harold. We'll sort it later. Don't start." Jenna's grin widened. "You're such a lawyer. It's just shopping." The peaches glistened on the cutting board. A drip of juice slid onto a gas bill. On TV, someone yelled, "You promised me." It felt stupidly on the nose. I didn't authorize that, I told them. "Don't take it." But Jenna, she just tucked the card into her phone case anyway, like the issue was settled. "Be right back," she sang, snatching Dad's car keys. She kissed Mom's cheek, breathing out, leaving a trail of vanilla perfume and cold air in her wake. Mom kept slicing peaches like nothing had happened. "You always make things so heavy," she said softly, not looking at me. "You know your sister is trying to get on her feet." I looked at the knife, the peaches, the clean counter I'd wiped myself after dinner. I felt the old, familiar pressure gather behind my eyes. I swallowed it. "Mom," I said again, slower this time. "Put my card back." She didn't. She set down the knife and finally met my eyes. The look said, "Don't embarrass me. Don't make a scene. We're family, that was the first click of the lock turning in my head. Not anger, not yet. Just, a click. Now, let me tell you, this didn't happen in one day. This was a decade in the making. It was 1,000 little things that didn't look like theft because they were wrapped in family words. When Dad's back went out, I paid the MRI copay. When the roof leaked, I put a new card on the roofer's invoice because Mom's credit was acting weird. When Jenna forgot her rent, I zelled her just this once, because her landlord was a creep. If someone was short, I covered. If someone was stuck, I drove. No one ever asked how I had the money. They just assumed I had it, because I was the lawyer. Here's the unglamorous truth, I'm an associate, not a partner. I pay insane student loans. I drive a cheap, used sedan that smells faintly of old coffee. And that $90,000? It wasn't lying around. It was my emergency fund, plus the down payment for a modest condo I'd been stalking on real estate apps at 2 a.m. when insomnia got loud. It was every packed lunch, every skipped Uber, every wedding where I wore the same suit and pretended it was a choice. When you're the calm one, everyone assumes you're fine. Even when you tell them you're not. Mom's favorite line, we raised you, you turned out well, you should give back. Dad's, a family is one pocket. Jenna's, I'm not asking for a handout, it's an investment. I'd argued against those lines in my head for years, writing counterarguments like closing statements while brushing my teeth. But out loud, I swallowed them. I picked my battles. I wanted peace. Peace, it turns out, comes with a price tag nobody totals until much later. The pressure really started picking up this past spring. Jenna quit a job at a boutique after 2 weeks because the manager had a tone. Then she started an online store that sold nothing and posted soft life influencer reels. Mom co-signed a car for her to get to interviews. When the payments were late, guess who helped for now? In June, I finally told them I was looking at buying. I said it in that careful voice I use with nervous witnesses. I've saved the down payment. I'm meeting a broker. I don't want to touch that money for anything else. I even texted it, because I wanted it in writing. Mom heart reacted. Dad sent a thumbs up. Jenna replied, proud of you, big bro. Can I borrow your blender? 2 weeks later, the group chat lit up, family dinner Sunday. Big news. It was Jenna. The big news was she was launching a studio. Which meant a room in a rented co-working space with neon signs. She wanted to surprise everyone with a vision board. At dinner, she passed around a laminated list of starter needs, camera, ring lights, designer pieces, a laptop that doesn't freeze, gifts for future collabs because you have to spend to make. Don't look at me, Dad said, raising his palms. We're tapped. Your brother will help, Mom said, like she was ordering bread. I stared at the list. I thought about the condo's green-tiled bathroom I'd saved to my phone. I can't, I said. I told you about the down payment. Jenna rolled her eyes. You're so linear. Mom sighed, a deep, theatrical thing. Your sister's trying. You, of all people, should support that. I do, I said. But not with my house money. Mom's face hardened. You have always been careful, she said, like careful was a flaw. Sometimes you have to believe in people. Dad chimed in. We've believed in you since you were born. He meant, you owe us. I washed dishes. After dinner. The neon numbers on the stove glowed, 8:32. The sponge squeaked against a pan. I kept breathing slowly, like I teach anxious clients before depositions. The next week, Mom stopped by my apartment with laundry detergent and left with my extra laptop. Just for a few days so Jenna can edit. I told myself it was okay. Then she asked for my streaming passwords, to help her unwind. I told myself it was nothing. Then she asked me to co-sign a small personal loan, just in case Jenna needs inventory. I said no to that one. I actually said the word no. Mom didn't speak to me for 3 days. Then came that Sunday. The peaches. The card. After Jenna left with my card, I stood in that kitchen and felt my chest hum like a power line. I wanted to shout. I didn't. I did what I always do. I tried to manage it. Mom, this isn't okay, I said. You can't just take my card. She wiped the knife clean with a paper towel. I didn't take it. Jenna borrowed it. She doesn't have permission. You're so legal, she said, like it was a slur. You make everything a contract. We're family. I wanted to say families can still steal. I wanted to say I am not a line of credit. Instead, I said, call her. Tell her to bring it back. Mom's mouth flattened. Stop controlling everything. The rain got harder. Dad shuffled in wearing socks with sandals, opened the fridge, and stared inside like answers were next to the pickles. What's this? He said, sensing the weight in the air. Nothing, Mom said quickly. Jenna ran an errand. For what? I asked. Mom didn't answer. She tossed the peach pits in the trash and tied the bag. I need to take this out. She went into the rain without a coat. It felt like a metaphor, and also just my mother being dramatic with produce. I stood there with my phone in my hand. I typed, bring my card back now. I didn't send it. I deleted it. I typed, this is not okay. I deleted that, too. At 6:14 p.m., Jenna texted the family chat a photo of 3 shopping bags sitting in a mall food court, a smoothie next to them. Caption, we love a productive Sunday. No tags, no receipts, no details. Just a poke. Mom sent a heart emoji. Dad sent a fire emoji he uses incorrectly for everything. The click in my head turned into a slow, grinding word, breaking point. Breaking points don't always arrive with screaming. Sometimes they show up in the fluorescent light of a mall, with a cashier who's just doing her job. At 7:02 p.m., my phone buzzed with a fraud alert. Then a second, then a third. Is this you? It asked. $389.99, Electronics. $2,450, Lumiere shoes. $1,280, Maison Parfumer. Location, the mall Jenna always tags in her stories when she wants free samples. I screenshotted, because I knew I'd need proof. I hit, no, not me. I called the bank. While I was on hold, listening to a woman's voice assure me my call was important, I texted Jenna. Stop. Call me now. She didn't. Instead, she posted a boomerang of a glossy bag swinging on her wrist. Mom texted me separately, don't be petty. She's investing in herself. Investing. The customer service rep came on. Calm, bored, probably in a room with bad lighting. I verified everything. I asked them to freeze the card. She said someone was currently at a register attempting a large purchase, and could I confirm the amount? I asked, how much? Very gently, she said, $18,800. My mouth opened, but nothing came out for a second. The air in the kitchen felt thin. I hung up and drove. I don't remember the turns. I remember the sound of the rain, the smear of red tail lights, the sticky brake pedal that needs WD-40. I parked crooked, ran inside the mall, smelling cinnamon and floor cleaner. Jenna was at Electronics, a ring light haloing a wall of TVs, a display of noise-canceling headphones like trophies. Her cart was stacked with boxes, a camera that looked like it could film a nature documentary, 2 designer laptops, a tablet, a drone. She wore a puffy coat, and the look of a person who's never been told no. Mom stood beside her, chatting with a salesperson about warranty plans like she was buying a toaster. I walked up. Give me my card. Jenna blinked slowly. Relax. The cashier hit a button, slid the card into the reader. The machine chirped. A pause. He glanced at the screen, then at Jenna. Sorry, but this card is, he bit back a word. Declined. Jenna laughed, like it was cute. Run it again. I just froze it, I said. My voice sounded calmer than my body felt. Give me my card. Mom stepped between us, like a human customer service supervisor. Don't humiliate your sister, she hissed. People are looking. They should look, I said, finally letting my words land. You took my card. It's family money. Mom snapped, you'll get it back. When? When her studio takes off. The cashier cleared his throat, embarrassed to be near this scene. I can hold the items for 15 minutes, he said. After that, they go back. Put them back now, I told him. This is unauthorized. Jenna's face did a hard switch. The smirk died. You're so small, she said, her voice low. You love making me feel like trash. You've always loved that. Give me my card. She shoved it into my chest and walked away with Mom. Both of them muttering about my attitude. In the food court, they sat with smoothies like it was intermission. I sat across from them. The table was sticky. A kid behind me cried about a pretzel. The overhead speakers played cheerful pop. My shirt was damp. My hands shook. Mom started. You could have handled that privately. You could have asked, I said. You could have respected no. Jenna rolled her eyes to the skylight. I told you, he likes being the victim. I put my phone on the table and opened the banking app. I scrolled to the alerts. The numbers stared back, the $8,000 attempt, plus the little ones. Screenshots lined up like receipts of who they were. Do you see this? I said. Do you see what you tried to spend? It was a bundle, Jenna said. Discounts. Jenna. I said, and the way her name came out made her look at me. No more. What's that mean? Mom asked, suspicious. It means there will be consequences, I said. Real ones. Mom laughed. What will you do? Sue your own mother. She said it like a dare. I stood up, because sitting felt too powerless. I won't argue here, I said, voice steady. I'm going home. If anything else is charged on any card, I'll treat it like I would for any client. You'll get the same courtesy, and nothing extra. Mom sucked her teeth. You're heartless. Maybe, I said. Or maybe I'm finally done being a wallet. I left them there. The rain had softened into mist. In the car, I exhaled for the first time in 20 minutes, and felt the exhale turn into something like shaking. On the drive home, I practiced sentences out loud. Not for court. For my life. People imagine aftermath as quiet. Mine was loud. The dings of group chats, the silent ring of ignored calls, the thud of my heart when my phone lit up with Mom's name. That night, the family group chat exploded. Jenna posted a paragraph about public humiliation and being unsupported. Mom added, your brother has always had control issues. Dad wrote, let's be reasonable, which in our language means, do what your mother wants. I didn't answer. I took photos of every message. I saved every alert. I changed every password I hadn't already changed. I set up two-factor authentication. I called the bank again and had them issue a new card and a new account number. And I put a verbal password on the account that isn't my birthday, my dog's name, or my favorite sports team. I froze my credit. I removed my name from the automatic payments for the family cell plan I'd been covering temporarily since 2021. I canceled the streaming profiles I paid for and that no one thanked me for. It felt petty for 5 seconds. Then it felt like breathing. At 11:43 p.m., Mom called. I let it go to voicemail. Her voice was low and furious. You embarrassed me today, she said. You think money makes you superior? It doesn't. You wouldn't have that money without us. We fed you. We clothed you. We did without so you could study. You owe this family. I replayed it twice. The words scratched at me like sand. At 7:08 the next morning, a text from Dad, come by tonight. Family meeting. I typed, I can't. I have work. I erased it. I typed, okay, 6. Then I put on a suit and went to an early hearing with a judge who says my last name like it's 3 syllables. I argued a motion. I won. Afterwards, my colleague asked if I wanted coffee. I said no. I ordered 2. I started catching up, but my eyes kept darting to my phone, like a dog to the door. At 6:04 p.m., I walked into my parents' living room and felt that old childhood tightness in my shoulders, like I should sit up straighter without being told. Mom sat upright on the couch with a notebook, like she'd prepared remarks. Jenna had sunglasses on indoors. Dad paced. "We're going to resolve this," Dad said, throwing his hands up like a referee. I nodded. Great. Resolution is good. I sat. I put my phone face down. I clasped my hands so they wouldn't tremble. Mom started. "You humiliated your sister over a misunderstanding." "What was misunderstood?" I asked. "We thought your savings was for family goals," Mom said, actually using the word goals like we were pitching a deck. "Jenna's studio is a family investment." "No," I said. "It's not. You're selfish." Jenna snapped. "You think your little law job makes you better than us?" I laughed, surprised at the sound. "Nothing about my job feels little," I said. "But this isn't about better. It's about boundaries." Mom put down her notebook and leaned forward. "Boundaries," she repeated slowly, like tasting a word she didn't like. "So, here's what we propose." She actually used that word. "We set a monthly family support budget, just until Jenna is stable. You contribute, say, $2,000. That's nothing to you. And you stop making everything combative." My mouth opened, then shut. I breathed. I reached into my bag and took out a thin folder. I put it on the coffee table. The cover said, in a clean font, "Family Financial Conduct Agreement." Jenna snorted. "Oh my God. I drafted it on my lunch break," I said. "It's not a trap. It's clarity." "It might bite," Dad mumbled. "What's in it?" Mom demanded. "Exactly what I've said for months," I replied. "My accounts are mine. No one is to hold or use my cards, ever. Any requests for money come in writing, with purpose, amount, and repayment terms. No guilt language. No surprise visits to borrow items I need for work. If there's an emergency, we discuss it. Real emergency, hospital emergency, not studio lighting." Mom flushed. "We're not signing that." "That's fine," I said. "It still applies." "You can't make rules for us," Jenna said. "I can make rules for me," I said. "And I am." Mom stood. "Get out." I stood too. "Okay." She didn't expect that. She faltered. "You're leaving?" "Yes," I said. "I'll be in touch when I'm ready." "Ready for what?" Jenna asked. "Silence," I said. "A break." "Don't be dramatic," Dad said. He sounded tired. He's always tired when it's time to stand up to Mom. "I'm not," I said. "I'm done." I left. I walked to my car with a quiet I hadn't felt in years. It wasn't happiness. It was space. The next 3 weeks were a lesson in what happens when you step out of a role people rely on. The texts escalated, then curdled, then went silent. Aunt Marlowe wrote, "Family forgives. Be the bigger person." Cousin Leo wrote, "LOL, your sister says you're rich now. Congrats." Someone I hadn't spoken to since high school DM'd me, "Your mom says you're having a mental health episode." I took screenshots. I put my phone face down a lot. Then my building's concierge called to say a courier had left a package. Inside was my extra laptop, scratched, and a ring light still in plastic. No note. I photographed them and filed the photo in a folder called Returns. I moved forward. I toured the condo with the green-tiled bathroom. I met the broker. I ran numbers. I felt the terror of doing something big for me after years of doing big things for everyone else. On a Thursday, I was in court when my phone buzzed with a restricted number. I let it go to voicemail. It was Mom. Her voice was different, small, brittle. "We need your help," she said. "Jenna has an issue with her credit. Someone did something with a card. There's a police officer here asking questions. Call me." I sat in my car after court and listened to it twice. The sun was bright. A kid pushed a scooter down the sidewalk, helmet too big. I called back. "What happened?" I asked. "It's a misunderstanding," she started. "What happened?" I repeated. Mom exhaled. "A card was used. They're saying it wasn't authorized. They're saying it was fraud." "Whose card?" "Yours," she said quickly. "But it's a mess, Harold. Because it's all in the system wrong." I cut in. "No," I said. "It's very simple. I reported unauthorized use. If someone used my information, the bank and the police will handle it." "You're going to let your sister get arrested," she snapped, heat returning to her voice. I could hear the old hooks sliding into place. Family guilt. Duty. I felt it hit the boundary I'd built and stopped there. "I'm going to let the process work," I said, like I would for anyone. "She's your sister," Mom said softly, pleading now. "Yes," I said. "And I've been her safety net for a decade. That net is causing more harm than help." Mom went quiet. "Then you've changed." "I've stopped lying," I said. "That looks like change." For 2 days, it was chaos. Extended relatives called. Old neighbors texted. Jenna posted a long story about betrayal with a black background and white font. I didn't look. I only saw it when a friend sent a screenshot with, "Is this about you?" I replied, "Not my circus anymore." Then it got quieter. People run out of outrage when you stop feeding it. I closed on the condo. I signed a lot of papers. I held the keys in my palm, warm from the escrow agent's hand, and felt my chest loosen like a knot untying. On moving day, my friend Marcus carried the heavy boxes and kept cracking jokes about my lawyer books, casebooks I keep for nostalgia, because yes, I'm that person. We assembled a cheap IKEA table that wobbled until it didn't. We ate pizza on the floor, because I don't own a table yet. It wasn't glamorous. It was mine. At 9:14 p.m., I stood alone in the green-tiled bathroom and looked at myself in the mirror. I thought about the kitchen with peaches and a tiny knife. I thought about my mother's face when I said, "Consequences." I thought about all the times I drove over at midnight with groceries and pretended that was love. My phone buzzed. A text from Dad. "Proud of you." Just that. 2 words. No emojis, no strings. It surprised me how much that small thing pinched behind my eyes. I typed, "Thank you." I didn't add anything else. 2 months later, Dad asked me to stop by, without the drama. The house looked the same. Lemons on the counter, TV murmuring, the hook with keys. Jenna wasn't there. Mom poured tea she never drinks and pushed the cup toward me. "I shouldn't have taken your card," she said, her eyes on the steam. "I shouldn't have told Jenna to. I told myself it was for her future. It wasn't my decision." My throat tightened. Years of arguing. And then, finally, plain words. "She's back at the boutique," Mom added. "Part-time. She hates it." "Work is good," I said. Boring helps. Mom's mouth tugged. You always liked boring. Silence. A neighbor's dog barked twice, like punctuation. I'm not the bank anymore, I said. Not a threat. A fact. I know, Mom said. I know now. Dad sat and stared at my hands. I should have stopped it earlier. I thought I was keeping peace. You were keeping quiet, I said. He nodded. He knew. Do you hate me? Mom asked suddenly. I shook my head. I'm angry less now. Mostly tired. I don't hate you. She exhaled. Can we see your place? You can, I said. Bring peaches. We laughed. A small, real laugh. At the door, she hesitated, then held out my old spare key. I never used it. I shouldn't have had it. Thank you, I said, meaning it. In the car, I let the quiet settle. My keys felt heavier. Not from number, from ownership. Here's what practice taught me: boundaries feel cruel when you've been trained to be useful. They feel cold when your role was warmth. But they aren't walls. They're doors with locks you control. People who love you knock. People who love your access rattle the handle. I'm done being access. I help when I choose, not when I'm cornered. Last week, Jenna texted a photo of a tiny paycheck. It's not much, she wrote, but it's mine. I typed, proud of you. And put my phone down. Tonight, I'll eat at the wobbly AITA table and look at the green tile and think, asterisk, I did this. My card stays in my wallet unless I decide otherwise, asterisk, that's the moral. I won't let you use me. And the bonus? When you stop being the bank, you stop being broke in ways money can't measure. That first click in my head that day. Not a lock closing. A key turning from the inside.